All right, welcome back. Now, let's take a look at some of the newspapers in front of me here. The Finder says over 10,000 babies die due to breathing abnormality at birth. That's the front story, front page story on the Finder. And then Ghana missing in top 1,000 universities. The Today newspaper says rip-off at Joji St. Anthony Hospital and PPP against release of Muntie. We'll take a look at that story captured by the Today newspaper. The Daily Statesman says insensitive government, Ghanaians robbed 12% decrease in fuel prices. We'll take a deeper look at that story too when we settle down for the conversation. And the BNFT says shippers traders gang up against proposed killer charge and neglect of agro-processing harming economy. Now, the Financial Post has extra 1.8 billion budget to repay 2007 Euro bond. Daily Express has a front page story, a new aviation academy complex and KIA arrival area inaugurated. And the Economy Times got a lot of business, government fiscal deficit on target and power consumers will bear custody. Those are some front page stories. I'll tell you quickly who my guests are and then we'll begin the conversation this morning. To my left is a legal practitioner and a member of the NDC, Mr. Abraham Amalba. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
And hope you're doing great.
Yes.
Hope you are back for good.
Good, yeah.
Okay. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
And then to my right is a member of the NPP and also a legal practitioner, Abu Jinapo. Good morning.
Good morning.
And hope you're doing great.
Can't complain.
And the campaigning is going quite well.
Very well.
Okay.
I mean, I can say that.
Okay.
Very well, yeah.
Okay. Grateful. Now let's start with this story because it won't go away today. Yesterday, TV3 reported of the Ghana Traditional Council also adding its voice to the call for the three Muntie FM people who were jailed for contempt to be released. And the story on Today newspaper says that the PPP is against the release of Muntie 3. And the party says it is shocked at the call on the president to release these persons using his powers under Article 72 of the 1990 Constitution. Now, the Ghana Traditional Council yesterday also signed the book and said that the president should go ahead and free these persons as a sign of reconciliation, as a sign of unity. Let me start with Mr. Abraham Maliba. Now, some seem to suggest that the president is being put under too much pressure on this and that we should allow him time to work. Is that what you think too?
Let me say good morning to your viewers. Is the president pressurized? I think that's your question.
That's it.
The president is not pressurized. The president is simply receiving petitions. And this is not the first time the president has received petitions on various matters of national interest. So this cannot be pressurization at all. The Ghana Traditional Council is adding on to the millions of Ghanaians who view the sentencing of the three gentlemen as draconian. Let's separate the two issues. And there are two issues here. Was it proper and appropriate for these three gentlemen to utter the words that they uttered? Unanimously, no.
Okay. And was it bad taste?
I have criticized it. Indeed, they themselves, one of them, started apologizing before the day that he was sentenced. So there's unanimity there. Nobody should view those of us who are asking for clemency as bad people in this country. Don't forget that the Supreme Court was petitioned, and that's what people have soon forgotten. The Ghana Bar Association petitioned the Supreme Court. Probably the Supreme Court would have called these people to appear before them. They were petitioned. Some other Ghanaians are also petitioning the president, and that is bad. So you see the logic. There is simply no tolerance for divergent views. Are we taking up arms? Are we at circle breaking cars?
I don't set a bad precedent.
Is this not in a civil way? Which of these acts, the sign of petition, the holding of vigils, is proscribed by law? It's not allowed by law. The same law that empowers the Supreme Court to do what they did, and they've done it within their powers, that same law gives the president some powers. We are simply asking and petitioning the president to give these people some reprieve.
You don't think that in order to reduce what we have all come to agree as a level of bad language in the media, asking the president to step in would encourage others? That's the argument of some people.
The view of those of us advocating for a reprieve is that the punishment does not commensurate with the offense.
So the president should reduce the punishment or free them totally?
72 has a number of things the president can do.
Okay.
So the president, that one, will leave it to the president. The view of those of us who are asking for reprieve are not saying that the people are not wrong and that the Supreme Court couldn't have hauled them before them and that the Supreme Court shouldn't punish them. But we are saying that you are using a sledgehammer to kill an ant. That's what we are saying. A similar matter went before the Supreme Court. Justice Atuguba could have given Sir John 6 months. And that will be his right to do so. Huh? But on that day, a number of factors were taken into consideration. You look at the environment, you look at the political tension, you take into consideration what the implications will be. And he was fined. The comments by these Montier people, the three, is it any different from the Sir John one on Oman FM? Telling people to their families or the judges to prepare for their funerals. It's similar. So what we are saying, and I'm saying that for me,
I suggest Sir John didn't say that?
Yes.
Don't tell me I'm a
liar.
liar.
Didn't hear it or he didn't say that?
Don't tell me that I'm a liar.
All right. I come to you to
That's a part.
okay.
And if I'm a liar, you are triple liar.
No, he didn't say that.
He said I'm a liar.
He said Sir John didn't say
He
that.
said I'm a liar. He added I'm a liar.
I didn't say
No,
that.
You
he
can't
didn't
lie.
say
You
that.
can't tell me
No,
I'm a liar on this program.
He didn't say that. He just said that Sir John didn't say
I'm
that.
one liar.
He
You are
didn't-
three liar.
He didn't say that.
So the point I'm trying to make is that
go on.
the point I'm trying to make is that we are not, for once, glorifying those comments. But the punishment is harsh.
All right.
Does the Constitution allow for the president to intervene in terms of giving them reprieve? Yes. The president has used that to benefit those people who are today against it. Adamu Sakande enjoyed that 72. And that was an MPP man. Why can't same be done to these people? I am saying that some people must be tolerant in this country. We can't all think the same way. Yes, they say that those people should be left to be rotting there. We are also saying that, and we have the right to say that, release them. They should understand. People are calling us names. People are attacking ministers. Why should they sign the petition? Don't ministers have the right to do what is honorable and noble in this country?
Let me speak to Abu. Simply, his worry is the level of intolerance. I think that the suggestion is that a group of people have said this. The Supreme Court has made a ruling. A group said, well, let them go to jail. Another group says, no, the president should act. I think this is simply expression of opinion, varied opinions.
Well, thank you very much, and let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. There are a few inaccuracies in the submission which I need to correct. First of all, it is not Justice Atuguba who handed out a judgment or a punishment in the Sir John matter. It's the Supreme Court,
All right. Okay.
made up of 9 justices at the time, who handed down that judgment. So the impression that when Sir John appeared before Justice Atuguba, he gave him a fine instead of, it's not just Atuguba, it's the panel.
But he was the president of the panel, or do you people call it the president or what?
He was the presiding judge.
Okay.
However, every judge has one vote.
Okay,
no judge has a bigger vote than the other.
Okay.
So the impression he creates that Justice Atuguba pardoned Sir John and gave him a fine. Okay. That is completely false. Secondly, in this particular case, it's not Justice Sophia Kufu who handed down a judgment in this Muntie matter. It's the panel of judges in the Supreme Court. Number three, I don't know of any GBA petition. Where is that coming from?
There was a petition from the GBA.
To where?
To saying that the Muntie FM3, if you had not seen that,
the Muntie people were held before the Supreme Court pursuant to the inherent jurisdiction of the court, not based on any GBA. But in fact, one Richard Asante Yabo. Okay. So the Your view, the distinctions are very important. These are the misinformation they go about peddling and creating problems for our country. The Supreme Court summoned the Muntie people themselves. It's not because of anybody's petition. In fact, one Richard Asante Yabo took out a petition or an application before the court. The court dismissed it and said they themselves would deal with it. So don't be, we are.
But you are not discounting the fact that the GBA issued a petition that the person should be dealt with.
I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is that it's the court that summoned them.
Yes, but I'm saying that you don't know anything about the GBA petition.
But what is the relevance of any petition, even if one existed? Okay, because the court themselves summoned them.
Okay, go on.
Then finally, my friend talks about tolerance. He's the one exhibiting a lot of intolerance on this show. People don't call you names. You are ranting and raving. He is the one demonstrating intolerance, but on the fundamental issues. One, what these chaps did, these Muntie people, right, completely reprehensible and condemnable. And it's surprising that a whole political party and the whole government is marshalling its forces to endorse and condone these reprehensible conduct. Look, I can't repeat some of
it. What is the endorsement? What is the condoning?
I'll get to that point.
Yes.
Before I
get, I think you explained for the beginning
I will get to that point.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not about to recount exactly what they said, but some of the things they said, we can't repeat them on this show. The Chief Justice of the land, the third person, the third most important person in our country, the head of a major arm of government, the judiciary, where we all run to when we have disputes. Right. The Chief Justice, these chaps actually threatened to rape her. These are the matters we are talking about, right? They threatened to rape her. They said they know where the judges live.
I thought you said we're not recounting these.
But I can't give you the vivid language.
Can we move on? Because, you see, there's a general agreement that what these three did is wrong. And I think the NPP, NDC all support that what they did was wrong. So if we can move the conversation.
Right. You will not be able to appreciate the matters under discussion if you don't situate them in their right context. If your daughter or your son, your child, misconducts himself or herself, the kind of mercy or clemency or pardon that you will give to your child, if you were going to give her 3 lashes or 4 lashes, the kind of pardon that you give to the child will be based on the nature of the misconduct. There are some kinds of misconduct that you may say the child should take the full punishment that you met out to the child. So it is important, and that's why I'm not giving the details.
These kinds of punishment not under Article 72?
I will deal with that, but just finally on that. Okay. So these are the comments that these people made. Say that they will rape the Chief Justice. Say they will know where the judges live, they will find their homes and they will kill them. I mean, but those are the comments, those are the matters we are dealing with. Rape the Chief Justice, the head of the judiciary, a woman who is risen to that level. These are the matters we are discussing on Article 72. First of all, there is no such pressure from Ghanaians. It's NDC people, NDC henchmen, NDC hawks, and ministers who have lined up to put pressure on their president.
They don't have the right?
No, well, I actually even think that to the extent that ministers...
They don't have the right?
They do have the right to do as they please. Once it's within the conference room. I actually hold the view, right, that ministers, cabinet ministers, who are supposed to sit in cabinet and hold consultations with the president and give the president counsel in the exercise or the discharge of his executive powers, these same ministers who have access to the president, who are supposed to sit around a table to discuss the president, these same ministers go and append their signatures to a petition to put some pressure on the president. I tend to think that the president is putting the pressure on himself. Nobody's putting pressure on the president.
Why is this a pressure?
No, well, he says that people are putting pressure on the president. People are calling on the president to pardon. And I'm saying to you that you seated here, you have a program with a co-host. Then the co-host doesn't tell you anything that, oh, Bright, can you pardon these people? The co-host steps out on the streets and be making noise and signing petitions that you should pardon somebody or should take a certain course of action. The temptation, the signal it gives is that perhaps you want to take a certain decision and you tell the co-host that you go and create the impression that you are telling me that I should take that decision to create the conditions for me to take the decision. It is absolutely incongruous. It is mind-boggling that ministers, cabinet ministers, who are supposed to sit in cabinet with the president to discuss whether or not he should exercise his executive powers pursuant to Article 72. They don't sit in cabinet with the president. The president's chief or deputy chief of staff or so, Madame Valensoya.
I am told she's no longer deputy chief of staff.
Head of monitoring. He is actually in the Flagstaff house of the president every day. She doesn't walk to president's office and tell Mr. President, I think that this matter, this, that. She rather goes to Radio Go to sign a petition. Minister of Education, she doesn't go to cabinet to consult with the president that, Mr. President, should we trigger Article 72 or not? She rather goes to Radio Go to sign a petition, ostensibly to put pressure on the president or to express their views as to what they think the president should do. Listen, my friend, let's get serious in this country. Listen to me. Prime Minister of Great Britain has a decision to take. And his ministers, his cabinet ministers, they don't sit around the cabinet table to discuss those decisions with him as to how he should exercise his executive powers. They rather go out somewhere, a private radio station, to go and append their... are we even considering
we saw divergent views during Brexit. Even people who were with Cameron openly spoke against what he wanted to do. I mean,
that was a referendum. That was a
vote. That was a decision that
but that was a vote.
A vote he wanted.
That was a vote. They were going to cast a vote, and that is why Prime Minister Cameron had to resign.
But before,
that is why he had to resign. These are the key reasons why he resigned. When he didn't go his way, he resigned. Indeed, if Prime Minister Cameron had prevailed, those ministers who broke bulk, they would have also resigned. It is completely incongruous. So that impression that is being created that there's some pressure on it, there's no pressure on the president. He's piling up pressure on himself to do what he wants to do. And they are creating conditions.
Would it be wrong if
now I'm getting there. So Article 72. Article 72 is clearly a discretionary power vested in the president. The president may or may not pardon them. To my mind, Article 72 is in the nature of mercy or clemency. Article 72 is not a review mandate. It's not an appellate mandate. It is not a mandate given to the president to review the decisions of courts. It is not a mandate given to the president to make a determination of the propriety or otherwise of a court decision. So if a president thinks that a punishment meted out by a court of law is severe, that cannot be a good ground for the president to trigger Article 72, because as you know, final judicial power or authority vests in the judiciary. So the president cannot, under the cloak of Article 72, take decisions which render the orders or the decisions of the courts of no effect. So that is not the intendment of Article 72. And the convention has been established. I give you one example, classic example. Under President Kufuor, a prisoner drove colleague prisoners for manual work. The warden officer collapsed. The prisoner took the vehicle, took the warden officer, took him to the hospital, returned to the prisons. He never bolted. Based on that exceptional good conduct, the prison service recommended a pardon for that prisoner. Article 72 is not to be exercised at the whims and caprices of the president.
So one key thing is good conduct.
No, one key thing may be good conduct. It may be on humanitarian grounds, as in health, as it happened in Ademu Sakandi's case, because he was pardoned on grounds of poor health and all of that, like it happened in Chachikate's case and many others. It must be on a recommendation of the prison service based on cogent reasons. Now, let me tell you, Article 72 is a discretionary power and is regulated by Article 296, that the exercise of a discretionary power must be done in a fair, in a candid, in a manner that is not prejudicial, in a manner that is not biased.
In this case, you think that if it happens, it is unfair.
Oh, well, in this case, if it happens, it will be a situation where the president has exercised his discretionary power as a public officer based on prejudice and bias. And the prejudice and bias emanates from the fact that one of the key architects of this palpably contemptuous and scandalous conduct, Mr. Mugabe, did say publicly that he was working for the president. These three people are NDC members. His political party are those who are clamoring for him to pardon them. The president himself is a presidential candidate of that political party.
National Council, are the members of the council members of the NDC? You have information to
the Ghana Traditional Council called on the president to talk to the judiciary to reduce the sentence.
Okay.
Then to trigger Article 72. They say, Mr. President, go back to the judiciary if you want these people pardoned, because they have final judicial power.
Article 72 cannot reduce the sentence?
It can, but the grounds on which, or the circumstances under which Article 72 will be triggered, given that Article 72 vests in the president discretionary powers, and also given that discretionary powers ought to be exercised in accord with Article 296, I say that if the president was to proceed to trigger Article 72 in this particular instance, he would have done so in a manner which is prejudicial, it would have done so in a manner which is biased, it will not be fair, it will not be candid. And finally, on the fairness and candidness, right, this country, how many people having gone to steal plantain or cassava because their families are hungry, because they cannot feed their families, and out of desperation they go and steal mangoes, they go and steal plantain, they go and steal cassava. They are taken to court, they are prosecuted, they are sentenced. Hundreds, thousands of them are languishing in jail. Has the president found it prudent to trigger Article 72 to pardon those people? Has the NDC ever called on the president to pardon persons who have gone to steal goats, who have gone to steal sheep, who have gone to steal cassava because they are in despicable and desperate situations? Has the NDC or the president or his ministers or his government asked the president to trigger Article 72 to pardon them? What is so special about these Muntie people that haven't scandalized the highest court of the land, having vilified and threatened the Chief Justice, the head of the judiciary of our country, the third most prominent person in our country, having done all of that and punished, the NDC, the government finds it prudent that all of us, the whole country, should come on these knees because of these three persons who have misconducted themselves and they've been punished. Thousands of Ghanaians are languishing in jail. They should call on the president to pardon them as well.
I'm grateful. Mr. Amanba, so first of all, the ministers lining up to sign the petition, Abu thinks that is in Congress. Now he thinks that the president goes ahead to act, to trigger Article 72. It would be unfair. He talks about prejudice and he talks about bias.
That is his view. He's entitled to those views. I'm not about to say that what he says is not right. But first and foremost, those ministers, majority of them are party people. Some of these people, at least I know one, who is languishing in jail now, is a party man. Is it wrong for a minister to solidarize with his party person? Is it wrong? Those ministers are wearing two caps. They are ministers of state, but they are nonetheless party people. Most of them are MPs. And they campaign on NDC platform. There's a call from our rank and file. Those who are speaking this way, the way Abu is speaking, suppose the president does not even exercise Article 72 and allows those people to rot in Sawam.
4 months they will know that.
Allow them to rot in Sawam. These are not people who even cast one vote to the president.
So it's about votes now.
You understand? So the political party has an interest in this matter. I will not deceive myself or anybody listening to me that those who were at the vigil were not grassroots party men who feel that the president should do something about one of their own or three of their own, if you want it. So the ministers sit in parliament, they sit in cabinet. So there isn't a situation where you say that because they sit in cabinet, they shouldn't engage in political party NDC activities when they are called upon to do that. Most of them serve in committees. The NDC has committees. You have the finance committee, you have the legal committee. Most of them are in those committees. They play a dual role. So they are signing the petition does not preclude them from discussing the matter in cabinet. They were two houses.
So Mr. Amaliba, this is basically an NDC thing asking the president to act. It's a party thing. That's what you're suggesting.
The party has spoken. Didn't you hear the party?
All right.
Didn't you hear the party?
Go on.
Didn't you hear their lawyers also petitioning? Didn't you hear the rank and file? So it's an amalgam of all this.
The party isn't worried that some have argued that if the president goes ahead, politically, he could be affected negatively. By way of
the president is not sitting in that office alone. The president has advisors. And in this matter, the advisors will give the president the appropriate advice.
Whether it is fair or not.
I'm saying that don't lead me into answering questions that
has to be answered by the president.
Exactly. I'm saying that he has advisors. And just as how they have given him advice in other periods and times, they will provide the right advice to the president. But that does not, you see, my point is that if you say you want to go to Kantamanto market and buy ingredients, allow me to also go to Medina market.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Allow me to also go. Ingredients, there are tomatoes there are tomatoes at Medina market.
Okay.
So if you are saying that those people deserve it and they should be there, allow me to also say that they don't deserve to be there.
Okay.
And allow the decision maker to take that decision.
Okay.
But there are some who just think that it is unheard of, but I'm praying. But I won't say this.
No, you don't have to say
if the shoe is on the other foot,
okay,
we'll see their reaction.
All right.
If this were MPP people, do you think that we would have rested in this country?
Abu, I don't know. You wanted to react to, I'm sure, about the issue of now the matter becoming an NDC and the party thing for votes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But
go ahead. Because let's quickly wrap up.
But I need to, you know, right, it's important for me to make this point. And I make this point very forcefully and passionately. And it's an extremely important matter. This is a very serious matter that we are discussing. This matter will have far-reaching implications for the independence of the judiciary. It will have far-reaching implications for the smooth administration of justice in this country. It will have far-reaching implications for the democracy of our country. To my mind, the president has been put to make an election of one or the other. One is he going to buckle or capitulate to the pressures from his own party?
And act constitutionally or unconstitutionally.
And act unlawfully and unconstitutionally. Because like I've told you, the powers vested in him under Article 72 are not to be exercised capriciously. They are not to be exercised as he pleases.
Okay, so the law court will decide that.
I'm sure if he does, it will be tested in court.
Okay,
but I'm very clear in my mind that in this particular circumstance, if the president was to trigger Article 72, that exercise of that power would have been biased and prejudiced. There's no two ways about that.
Okay.
So it is between his capitulating to his party or standing up for the constitution, standing up for the independence of the judiciary, standing up for the democracy of our country. Look, Amaliba and his friends should get it straight. This is not about NDC and votes, Mr. Amaliba. It is not about votes. If it's about votes for you, that's up to you. It is not about the president will not get a vote from MPP, the president will not get a vote from this, and these people will vote for him, and therefore he should listen to his party and not listen to other people. And this is not about we say something and you say another. It is not about that. It's about the laws of our country.
Right.
It's about the constitution of our country. Right, you know that history is replete with countless examples of president, even in our country, of president having taken decisions which have had far-reaching implications for the democracy, for the rule of law, for the independence and stature of the judiciary. Ria Koto, you know about that. Ria Koto.
Right.
Prime Minister Buzia's no vote, no court, no court. You know about that. Even when President Kufuor nominated a justice of the Supreme Court lawfully and within the confines of the law, it became a subject matter of huge discussion. And I welcome that discussion. We in Ghana, not MPP people, not NDC people, not political parties, independent-minded people, young people in our country, average-minded people, objective-minded people, we want a country where the judiciary will work and function independently. We want a country where our democracy will flourish. Just imagine, my friend, on that fateful day that the Supreme Court affirmed that President Mahama was the validly elected president of Ghana, that fateful day, that Justice Atukuba in 3 minutes said that the net effect of all that they have said is that the petition has been rejected. On that fateful day, if all of us behave the way these NDC people are behaving, when courts take decisions, signing petitions, and when court takes decisions, we want to whittle down the effect of the decisions. We want to render the decisions and orders of the court of no effect.
What would have happened if you had also signed petitions?
No, we didn't, because we are Democrats, and we are.
I think that is a game.
Let me just conclude. We are firm, unrepentant, and unflinching adherents to the rule of law, the MPP. That is why when the Supreme Court, just imagine, when the Supreme Court made that decision on that fateful day, if the judiciary is not, the authority of the judiciary is not respected, and the Ghanaian people said, which Supreme Court is this? We can't be bothered about what they say. Can you imagine what would have happened in our country? Can you imagine if MPP people lined up signing petitions and saying this and saying that and doing all kinds of things? If Nana Akufo-Addo, the Democrat and adherent of rule of law as he is, did not hold that press conference and bring this country together and preserve the independence of the judiciary, they should go ahead. Look, in government, in governance, you are always given choices. The president is being given a choice. He can back down to the pressures of his party. He can capitulate to the pressures of his party. Thankfully and fortunately, Ghana is not made up of NDC people alone. There are NDC people, there are MPP people. There are those who are not also NDC or MPP, and who are actually looking for a president who will respect the law, who will respect the constitution, who will respect the decisions of the court, and who will not buckle down to the pressures of his party. We wait the decision of the president in this matter.
That's the president's decision. I'm grateful. Wrap up briefly.
Yes,
let's move on.
Oh, you want to give me a third chance to buy the cherry? You can have it.
We are wrapping up.
Let me buy the cherry.
Yes. I have indicated that what we are calling for is within the Constitution. Nobody has asked the president to activate the Torah or to activate the Bible. We are all talking about the Constitution. This threat, warning the president, it will cost you electorally, will not wash, because the president, just as how he rose above the tantrums of Sophia Akufu by dragging him into the matter, just as how he rose above it. By saying that
this is sad.
But you're a lawyer. No, Mr. Maliba, let's stay.
Nobody has had the courage. I'm going to do that.
No.
Nobody has had the courage to condemn the dragging in of the name of the president in the ruling.
No, Mr. Abba, I don't want to.
On what basis?
I don't want to mute your microphone, but you lawyers have said that you can disagree.
I disagree.
So just say you disagree, but don't pick on any of the judges.
I'm saying that I disagree.
Yes, exactly.
With the Sophia Akufu mentioning the president's name in this matter. I disagree.
Yes, you can disagree with the ruling of the court.
Yes,
that's perfect.
I disagree.
That's all. But don't pick on any of the judges.
I disagree on Justice Sophia Akufu dragging the president's name into this matter. I disagree. I think that it's uncalled for. The president was not a party to the matter. It's wrong. Nobody has had the courage to mention that. Why should the president's name be dragged?
So you disagree with the ruling of the court?
I disagree with two things. One is the sentencing. Two is the dragging of the president's name in the matter. Okay, I disagree. I think grateful. It's uncalled for.
Okay, I'm grateful.
Please,
okay,
I'm pleading with you. You see, I say this with a heavy heart. You see, my friend and I, we are lawyers. And because we are lawyers, we are actually officers
So
of the court.
we can't disagree.
No, you let me finish. Let me finish.
We can't disagree.
Mr. Malaba, you
please,
allow
let me
him
finish,
to
let me
disagree. He didn't talk when you were
Right.
talking.
We are actually
please,
we are officers of the court. So in actual fact, we are like employees of the court.
Right.
My Lord Justice Sofia Akufu is the justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana, the apex, the highest court of the land.
So he cannot be criticized.
Hold on, my friend. Hold on. You can criticize her.
So I disagree
No,
with him.
hold on. You can disagree
for
with her.
dragging
No,
the president's name.
Mr. Malaba, you have made
hold
that
on,
point.
Hold on.
Abu,
Listen,
go on.
you can disagree with my Lord Justice Sofia Akufu. You can criticize her. She gave judgment for and on behalf of the panel, for and on behalf of the court, indeed for and on behalf of the Ghanaian people.
So it is
you can,
not-
hold on.
it is not
you cannot,
her, it
you
is the
cannot,
court.
you cannot,
Right.
and even if it was her, you cannot describe her judgment or her statement as tantrums. Unless you don't
Exactly.
hold on. And
Let
let me
me
finish.
Malaba
That's
has
right. Let me
withdrawn
finish.
that.
No, let me finish. He hasn't.
I
didn't
know
hear
he
him
has
withdraw that.
withdrawn.
Let me finish.
I made-
I did
no,
not hear him.
Abu,
You let me
please.
finish.
Abu,
Brian.
please.
You let me finish.
Yes, okay.
Unless he does not understand the meaning of the English word tantrum.
He's a lawyer. He understands.
No, I
That's
don't know.
why
You know,
I've
let
asked
me
him-
just
when he
for
said
the
that, I
benefit
said
of our
no.
viewers. Hold on.
I said no.
Tantrum is, as we are speaking, I just start. I'm angry, throwing
Exactly.
tantrums.
Exactly.
You,
But-
you can't
and-
describe.
and
no,
I-
let me
and
finish.
I made him
You can't
aware
look,
that
and
that
this business
is not
and
accepted.
this business of why did she drag the president? This look, if you want to catch the president's eye, that's up to you. However, you cannot. Hold on. You can't love the president more than himself or any other person. So don't stop this now. About, and why I disagree, he dragged the president. Look, judgments are given all over the world.
So is it wrong in disagreeing with the court ruling?
There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with the court
Exactly.
ruling.
So let's
However,
move
there
on.
is everything wrong for a senior lawyer of his stature. A senior lawyer, he's more than 10 years at the bar. He's an officer of the court. To describe, senior, you have to withdraw this and
No,
apologize.
he has
unreservedly.
withdrawn.
No,
I
you have
told,
to.
I
No, I
made him
didn't hear
aware
you. Let
that
him
that is
withdraw
not
it.
accepted.
Withdraw and
No,
apologize.
Abu,
You can't describe a
no,
judge's
Abu, listen,
judgment
don't drag
ruling
it.
as
Abu, don't
tantrums.
drag it.
Let me tell
I
you.
made him aware that the use of that word is not acceptable
Do you
here,
know?
and
Do
so
you
he,
agree with- do you know?
yes, he said he has accepted, and that he's not accusing the judge. He's only saying that he disagrees
And therefore,
with
has he withdrawn
the
it? Has he withdrawn the
ruling
word
of the
tantrum?
court.
Has he
Yes,
withdrawn?
he has.
I am
No,
saying that. I am saying that.
Mr.
Withdraw it.
Malaba, don't
Do
move
not
on.
want-
What I want us to understand is that the use of that word is not acceptable here. You disagree with that of the court. That is what I want you
I'm
to say.
saying that there were two things I disagree with: the ruling, the sentencing, the 4 year is harsh, and two, I disagree with the court or Justice Sofia Akufu dragging
But
in
it's
the
not
president.
just-
And your use of the word tantrums.
Well,
please,
yes, I can
please
withdraw that.
withdraw.
I
No,
can
no,
withdraw
you
that.
can
withdraw, you
I've
withdraw
withdrawn
it.
that.
Let's
Now,
move
the
on.
point is that if there's anybody who wants to catch the eye of anybody, it is him. He was.
I
he
am
was
moving
said,
on.
He was said to be a mole in the MPP.
I know. I'm moving
For a
on.
long time, he was banished from the MPP. He was not speaking for the MPP because half of his family is in the NDC.
But
they banished him. Half of his family is in the NDC. They
But
banished him.
I'm sure he's back.
He's
in the
back.
MPP
So now that he's back,
Okay, all right.
now that he's
Okay,
back,
all right.
now that he's back, he wants to catch the eye of his party, and that he has now converted. That's it.
Right.
I'm grateful, gentlemen.
You know what? Now-
Okay,
now-
let's
now-
move
now-
on.
now it's actually gotten bizarre.
No,
So I will
let's
make
move
a
on. No,
comment.
no, you are back.
It's gotten bizarre.
Welcome home to the NPP.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
all right. Gentlemen, thanks so
Let's
much.
move on.
Let's move on. Now, let's deal with this one from the statement that talks about Ghanaians being robbed of 12% decrease in fuel prices. Now, the story is suggesting that the suffering of Ghanaians has been confirmed by the government failure to activate the required action to ensure that the citizenry benefit fully from the falling world prices of crude oil. Now, the statement is suggesting that prices on the world market are down and that the government intends to, from now, as we move towards the election, reduce fuel prices in order to win a vote. Now, let me quickly read this one. The Daily Statesman can report that in its desperate bid to remain in power, the president intends to influence a massive reduction in the prices of fuel products during the last quarter of the year as a means of seeking to attract votes. That decrease is expected to be in the region of 10 to 12%. And the statement gives out some figures about the world market prices and why they think that government will influence the prices so that they win votes. Abu, let me start with you. I thought we had left the pricing of fuel products in the hands of those who are selling it, and that government no longer has that role to play as to how much it is sold, it goes up, and how much it comes down.
Well, you are very right about that. In terms of the policy of deregulation, where the petroleum sector has largely been deregulated. In other words, government does not regulate the prices.
Even though it's not fully
the determining factors are supposed to be largely the international price of crude, the taxes on the CD and all of that. Well, I get a point that the statesman is making, in the sense that if you recall, some products over the years, and as you know, again, the prices of products every sector of our national life. The factors, the prices have been going, as you know. In fact, the prices dropped all the way to about $30 per barrel or so.
Right.
The lowest in about 10 or so years. And therefore, Ghanaians expected that the local pricing of petrol will be commensurate with the drop. But it wasn't the case. And the reason why it was not the case is because we said these things over and over again. I mean, it's becoming a little boring. Because the fact is that the economy is not doing well. The indices are not right. Right. In this 8 years of NDC's administration, are you aware that the rate of depreciation of the cedi has been 250%? The Ghanaian cedi has depreciated by 250% from 2001 to 2009. The Ghanaian cedi under President Kufuor and the MPP depreciated by 54%. The Ghanaian cedi, as we speak, has depreciated by 250%.
But you also recognize some stability in the few months, let's say.
I will get to that point. I'm getting to that point. And that is the point that the statesman is talking about. 250%. And when your currency depreciates by that huge margin, what will happen is that because we are an import-driven economy, everything in the country, the prices of goods and services will skyrocket. The prices of goods and services will go up. The prices of petroleum products, even when the prices internationally are going down, will still go up because your currency has depreciated. You import it with foreign currency. Your currency is not strong. Your currency is depreciated by 250%. Now, you see, the point that the statesman is making is a very fundamental point. Governments are assessed on the totality of their governance. So governments are not assessed on the basis of the last 3 months of its tenure or the last 6 months. The governments are assessed taking into account the totality of the tenure. So the 4-year tenure of President Mahama and the 8-year tenure of President Mills, President Mahama, NDC, 8 years. That is how a government is assessed. So if you subject the people to such excruciating hardship over the past 8 years, and then 3 months to the elections or 6 months, because of political expediency, you begin to reduce the prices of petrol. You begin to give nursing trainee allowances when you haven't been giving them for years. You begin to say the economy is doing well, you are putting stopgap measures. That will not wash. That is what the statesman is talking about. And I just give you some examples. On a year-by-year basis, we've always been told that the Ghanaian economy is going to do well. Look, I'll give you an example. On the Tuesday, January 1st, 2013 edition of the Daily Graphic, this is a quote from President Mahama. President predicts better times ahead in New Year message. 2013. He predicted that there will be better times ahead in 2013. Then fast forward, the president predicts stable economy next year. Then you fast forward, February 26, 2014, better days ahead, president assures Ghanaians. Daily Graphic. If you move forward, you go and find that sometime in 2014, the president says again, economy will turn around in 2014, President Mahama. So the point that the statesman is making, you have a government, you have a president that has promised and given assurances upon assurances. They haven't kept the assurances. As we speak today, our country is in deep crisis. on all segments of our
Despite
national
what the
life.
finance minister told us last week?
Oh, Chief, we are not in this country.
I am in this country.
But this country is in crisis.
I listened to the finance minister.
But the finance minister's economy, he himself, the finance minister made a projection that his economy was going to grow at 5-point-something% this year. He's gone to parliament to give a media review and brought the projection down to 4-point-something.
But
he couldn't meet his target.
Some improvement.
Almost all the targets that the finance minister set for himself for the economy, the finance minister has gone to parliament to review them downwards. As we speak, our economy is barely growing at 3%. 3%. Kenya, they are growing at 6%. La Côte d'Ivoire, they are growing at 9%. Mauritius is growing at about 7%. Mozambique, in fact, the first 10 fastest growing economies in Africa, we are not one of them. In 2008, we were growing at almost 9%, and we're one of the fastest growing economies in the world. As we speak, in 2015, agriculture grew by 0.04% in Ghana. Every sector, right? Every sector.
There was an upward in the last.
It's moved from 0.04 to 2-point-something%.
Right.
We handed over an agricultural growth in 2008 at 7.4%. But the point I'm making, and I'm not the one making the point, I believe that the viewers will relate to it easily. The times are hard in Ghana, my friend. Times are hard. The only people who are not going through hardship are our friends who are in the middle of the game. Even those of them who are in the periphery, they are still feeling the pinch.
You mean Mr. Malba is feeling the pinch?
I'm not too sure if it's in the middle or in the periphery. But since he lost his primaries at Bolaga, I don't know where I'll place him. But the point I'm making essentially is that times are hard. The economy is difficult. Petroleum prices have been up over the years. We have gone through a lot of hardship as a result of that. 3 months, 6 months or so to the elections, whatever the government does, I know the Ghanaian people will come to the conclusion that if you take the totality of the tenure of the NDC administration for 8 years, the verdict is a very negative one.
I'm grateful. Honorable Maliba.
Yeah.
So the accusations are that we have lived in it for so long, just 4 months to elections. Government is fighting hard at reducing fuel prices so it can rake in votes. Is that what government is doing?
I thought you rightly indicated that we have deregulated and that the days when government will come and fix prices are gone past. So if there is any reduction, should anybody think that it is engineered by government? And I'm shocked that Abu, who should know that deregulation means that government is no longer responsible for fixing of prices, should begin to speak in that way, connecting government to it. We all know that.
I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't do what? When you say something, you say you didn't do what? You didn't do what? You didn't do what?
And I said
you are talking about if government reduces price. You ended by saying if your government reduces. No, you said that. How did you end? How did you end? How did you end? How did you end? How did you end?
My friend.
How did you end?
How
did you end?
How
did you end?
You have to get my friends some coffee.
Tell him how did you end?
Because he's not drinking coffee. He looks like
water is healthier.
He drank Pito this morning. That's why he will start from somewhere and somewhere.
By my hometown,
you ended up by saying that
Pito is a delicacy of Balagatang. You will lose the elections again. You make such comments.
You ended up by saying that if government is reducing prices, the people of Ghana will see it. Didn't you see your conclusion? You are the type of people who say that you are the type of people who say that me I'm a man, I won't cry when you are crying. You started and ended saying that if government is reducing prices, you don't want me to pick on that.
No, it's
the
a lack
well
of
all
understanding
over.
Of the point I made.
Oil prices are dropping. In the last 2 months, oil prices have dropped. You will also attest to the fact that our city has been able to be stable for some period of time now. And you know, in fixing the prices, the city is factored into it. The regulators have seen all these indicators. And rightly so, they intend to reduce prices. Where does government come in here? This economy is, as we all know, and we have been told by the IMF and the World Bank is steadily picking up because government is doing the right things.
Your critics don't think so.
No, but if they accept, how would they go to the people and ask for vote? Because if they accept, they go. But when they go to the people say, but you say the people are doing well, so they won't accept. Even if we line the people of Ghana up on the streets and give them a bar of gold each, they will still say that it's a waste. Yesterday, one of their panel members sat here and said that building of schools is a wrong priority. You heard it.
Oh, please, please.
Let me make my submission.
No,
Let me make my submission. Let me make my submission.
I mean,
let me make my submission.
Yesterday.
All right.
Let me make my submission.
Okay.
Right.
Will you make my submission? What's your problem?
Why are you so?
What is your problem?
No,
you said things that were biting.
okay.
You said things that were biting.
Lie too much.
You said
Don't do that.
No.
Because
but what is your problem? You see again.
not
Hasn't he
true.
said I'm lying?
Nobody said so.
Hasn't he said I'm lying?
Somebody said that yesterday.
Hey, no. You see the lies.
Somebody
here.
said-
No.
He's
hold
calling
on.
me a liar.
Let me.
He's calling me a liar.
No.
And when I retaliate in equal
No,
measure,
don't. No.
then he
because-
says that
No.
I am intolerant.
I haven't called you a liar. I said what you are saying is a lie.
So what does that mean?
Make you a liar.
What does that mean?
No.
All right.
What
I
does that
said
mean?
this. Okay,
Abu,
it's untrue. Okay, it's untrue.
You please allow him.
Okay, let me withdraw.
Okay.
It's false.
Yes.
If
Now-
that makes you happy.
Now, the indicators look good. And these indicators are the reason for the eminent reduction in prices. Government is not going to hoodwink the people of this country. Government has taken all the tough decisions. Now, we are beginning to reap the fruits of these decisions. And that is why the people of this country can relate to a number of developmental projects going on around the country. The people are seeing the schools coming up, so they can relate to it. The people are seeing the hospitals coming up, they can relate to it. This is not an economy that you can describe as collapsing. And so, for me, what is happening, which has led to the eminent reduction in prices, is kudos to the finance minister. Indeed, the economy is growing at 4.9% as compared to last year, which was 4.5%. It shows that there's some improvement.
Last year it was what?
Last year by this time, this first quarter, we talk about the last quarter.
It was what?
4.9% is growing now. It was 4.5% last year. Look.
Okay,
No.
you move
Now
on. I think
no,
you move on. We'll get these figures properly corrected. You move on. We're running out of time.
So, here, he added, that's the Minister of Finance.
Hey, stop calling him liar. Go on. You go on.
It is getting better. At 4.9%. First quarter of 2016. For the same period in who is now lying?
This is getting ridiculous.
Okay. Who's lying?
But are you
stop telling me
but are you not worried that these figures were pegged at a higher level and they've been revised down? You're not worried at all?
See, they are estimates, and you should understand the word estimate.
Right.
We are not saying we are going to hit that target exactly. They are estimates. And so, depending on how much you miss the target, that's what's important. If you say 5%, which is an estimate, which is not conclusive, because you cannot predict the future, and you hit 4.9%, how can somebody say you failed when it's an estimate? So I think that what is important is that the people are seeing some developmental projects going around the country, in the nooks and crannies of this country. They see their lives improving, and that is the message that this government will send to the people. This government will not behave like the MPP that was losing the elections and decided to reduce prices. We will not do that. We know that petrol politics does not help. And he ended up by saying that the people of the country can see that that would be a deception. We are not going to deceive them. We would employ the people of this country to look at what the regulators are doing And they are doing that based on indicators that suggest that petrol price should come down. It's not the government that is doing that.
Okay. I'm grateful.
Right.
Just a quick one, then we'll move on to this one. We're running out of time.
Well, there's a little contention between myself and Mr. Maliba as to whether or not the Ghanaian economy is doing well.
Right.
I mean, I have a very simple way of resolving that argument, if you want. There are people who are watching us as we speak. I mean, they are the best judges. And Mr. Maliba says the economy is doing well. They've grown at 4.9. They brought prices of petrol down. Things are going well. People are doing good. Economy is booming. Is indicators, IMF, World Bank. I say that the seamstress who are watching us, you and this morning, they are struggling.
Great.
The hairdressers are struggling. The carpenters are struggling. The drivers are struggling. Civil servants are actually threatening to go on strike. Nurses cannot get allowance. Look, second cycle institutions in northern Ghana, the president's own home enclave.
Great. So all that you're saying is that
government struggles to pay them.
The determiner is out there.
Government. So the point I'm making is that he can say as much as he wants that the economy is doing well, the economy is booming. The economy may be booming for Mr. Maliba and his friends, but the people, the thousands and millions of us, that's the point I make. The thousands and millions of us who are out there in the streets of Ghana, we know that this economy cannot be anything else but a very, very difficult economy. Very difficult.
Let's wrap up on this one. Dismiss allegations of conflict of interest against me. President tells Stratch, and it's simple. But let me begin with it. The president,
but that's the president's
of course, Mr. Maliba will speak.
And he's supposed to be a member of the legal team, actually. So let's have him give us some.
But what do you think? The president says dismiss any conflict of interest accusation against me.
I don't know what to say, whether a conflict of interest should be dismissed or not dismissed, what work will Stratch do, what work they wouldn't do, whatever it is, I know, and this I know too well, that any president anywhere in the world, whether it is in Ghana, it is in Europe, the Americas, or anywhere, who is determined to fight corruption, and I mean any president, the first most important ingredient for the fight against corruption is leadership by example. The leader must always occupy the moral high ground. Yes, you need to put in place institutional framework, you need to put in place the legal framework, you need to do all of that. But when all is said and done, the leader must be able to have the moral courage, the moral audacity, and the moral impetus to call a minister and tell the minister, this thing you have done, it is wrong. You must have that moral courage. Now, when a president takes, is it a present, a gift, or a bribe, whatever it is, if a president takes a gift, a present, or a bribe from a businessman who has business interest in Ghana, is it appropriate? Is it ethical? Is it lawful? Whatever it is, I know that if I ever had the opportunity to advise our president on this particular matter, I would have told our president to decline that gift or that present or whatever it is. The reason is very, very simple, my friend. If I'm in the habit of giving you gifts, these hard questions you've been asking me on this show, you may be put in a position of difficulty. It's as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. And that is the point that I believe fair-minded Ghanaians have been making. That whatever, look, and the other part of it is that, right, look, these are our president, our ministers, deputy ministers, and all government appointees. You know, we give them bungalows, we give them vehicles, we give them fuel from ourselves, taxpayers. Indeed, the president of all, if the President Mahama wants a Toyota car from Japan because he says he likes the cars from Japan, if he likes a Toyota car from Japan in armored vehicle, gold-plated, I believe the Ghanaian people will buy that for their president. It is for a reason.
So no president should take any gift.
There is a reason why, right, there is a reason why we do that. It is to put our public officers in a position such that they can reject certain favors which will have the tendency of compromising them. And I say that it will not matter the outcome of these investigations by Stratch. The verdict is out there that, look, as president, it should not even come up at all in the first place
for to accept a gift.
To accept a gift, a present, or a bribe.
Under no condition.
Look, we need it. Let me tell you the
At
final
all.
point. At all.
Okay.
Under no, at least, at all from a person who has business interest in Ghana.
If the person doesn't have business interest, you can take it.
Well, we had President Clinton come to Ghana. We gave him kente. Isn't it a gift?
Okay.
But I'm saying to you.
So the person doesn't have business interest.
No,
in
I'm
your
just
country,
saying to you
can
that
take it.
we need a president who will occupy the moral high ground to be able to fight corruption. And one of the things that a president can do to ensure that he can occupy the moral high ground to fight corruption is to decline those kinds of relationships and those kinds of gifts, presents or bribes or what have you,
Okay, wrap up
to equip him
Okay.
to be able to fight corruption and fight it.
All right. I'm
good.
grateful. I'm grateful.
Any other way, I don't
I'm
think.
grateful. Mr. Maliba, wrap up for me.
The world all over, presidents receive gifts. It depends on what you receive the gift for
Like Abu is saying.
and for what reason. So the world all over, presidents receive gifts.
Yes, like we gave
Now-
President Clinton kente.
Now, the president, in his response to a petition, said that, one, he was unaware of the gift because that was not discussed. He didn't ask for it. He also indicated that when the gift came in at the presidency and then he got wind of it, he then referred the vehicle to the pool. The president indicates that he is unaware of any contracts that were given to the contractor the contractor in question. I just think that the president has adequately responded to the petition. I'm not going to go into tangential issues. You talked about the petition.
Yeah.
It is now left with Shraj to then look at the petition
Establish a
and
conflict of
then
interest.
side by side with the president's response and come out with a verdict. But we also know in this country that presidents have received gifts to fence their private homes. We'll leave it that to the
I'm
people.
grateful. Mr. Maliba is a legal practitioner and a member of the NDC. Abu Jinapo is a legal practitioner and a member of the NPP. Gentlemen, I'm grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And wish
Thank you
you a
very
great
much.
Tuesday morning.
It's good to be here. I'll go and have some pito with my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, of course. You need to share something too. All right. Okay, we're grateful
So that
for
next
your
time I
time.
can win the primaries at Bolga.
Oh, but I thought Akufo-Addo lost several times.
In 2020,
Your leader. How many times has he lost elections?
Small primaries.
I'm
lost.
saying that
Not general election.
your leader, Nana Akufo-Addo, is a perpetual loser.
At least he's one primary.
Perpetual loser.
Aren't you,
And he's going to
aren't
lose
you
again.
thinking of going for a seat too?
Well, because of my friend's defeat, I'm now
You are
scared.
scared.
Oh no, it's because
Okay,
it's
gentlemen.
because of Nana Akufo-Addo's
Have a good day.